And we are back. Time for another preview. That's what we do. This time, it's the New Orleans Saints, Nick. They're going to be facing the Fighting Tom Brady's twice. Jameis Winston's going to throw for some touchdowns.
Yeah.
He's going to throw for some touchdowns. He's also missing Kamara for the first 6 games. Hey, look at that. Little Saints love.
Hey, Drew. It was much easier when you were the quarterback. It was much easier to talk about your team. I don't really know what's going on. Man. Purdue misses you.
Dude.
Boiler up. Boiler up.
No question, boiling up. Drew Brees is not there. He's doing a fantastic job as a pundit now in the NFL. But on the other side, we break down this year's lots of touchdowns, a lot of interceptions, New Orleans Saints. All right, Nick. 2022 New Orleans Saints.
Where are we starting?
Let's start with last season. Okay. 9-8, second in the division. Final season for Sean Payton. They won Super Bowl with him. They had a lot of great times with him. But those days are over, and it might be a long while before you ever see those days again in New Orleans.
Weird year last year, huh?
Yeah.
This is a team that started out 4-2. Jameis Winston gets hurt and misses the rest of the season. Also, by the way, let's not point out, they started out 4-2. They lost to Carolina in the first 2 games, which was the only 2 games that Cam Newton looked like a real quarterback. And they lost in overtime to Danny Dimes and the New York Giants. I don't really know how they lost those games, but they also beat the pants off the Patriots in Foxborough. And I don't know. And by the way, let's not forget, beat Green Bay 38-3 to start the season. They beat Green Bay 38-3. Aaron Rodgers with Devontae destroyed them. But then they lose Jameis Winston. And you go, well, this team is going down the toilet. And they lose 5 in a row with Trevor Siemian.
Can they just get – I mean, I know Taysom Hill's like a utility infielder and the fans love him or whatever. But it's like, all right, Sean Payton's not there anymore. It's time to Tebow this kid out.
I just don't – but they bring in Trevor Siemian, who is, for all intents and purposes, definitely a probable quarterback. Yep. They lose everything, which, by the way, let's not forget, they beat Tampa Bay with Trevor Siemian. Trevor Siemian beats Tom Brady at home by 9 points. Weird. But then they lose to Atlanta. They lose to Tennessee. They lose to Philly. They lose to Buffalo. They lose to Dallas. Okay. Taysom Hill takes over at quarterback, who, listen, I know I talk trash about Lamar Jackson as a passer, and I will continue to. Taysom Hill makes Lamar Jackson look like Joe Montana. I mean, Taysom Hill is a bad quarterback, and they finished the season winning 4 of 5. Like, their lone loss was Miami. They beat Tampa. They beat the Jets. They beat Carolina. They beat Atlanta. They make their record above 500, of which Trevor Siemian and Taysom Hill started 11 of the 17 games. What happened? And by the way, let's not forget that they had a couple games there where Alvin Kamara missed time. Mark Ingram had to start a couple of those games because he got dinged up with the hip. Taysom Hill was doing his thing. Also, they didn't have Michael Thomas at any point last year. Nope. He did not play. Their number one.
They overachieved. And, you know, we'll get to the win-loss game here in a moment, but they hit the ceiling.
Marcus Callaway.
They hit the ceiling with 9 wins. What do you think of Dennis Allen? Sean Payton's out. Dennis Allen in?
I don't, dog. This team is so weird. It's so weird. By the way, who's the Saints coach now?
Dennis J. Allen.
Oh, Dennis Allen. Cool. I think Sean Payton.
He's got 3 years coaching experience with the Raiders.
Not good Raiders teams, but
he was 8-28.
Not great. I mean, again, the Raiders firing coaches is sort of not a great barometer on how good a coach is because they fire guys all the time. Like
but he's been with the Saints for a while. I mean, all the way back to 2015. So I mean, he's been the one anchoring that defense, and they're going to need their defense. Let's jump in.
Defensive head coach is going to be interesting. Typically, defensive head coaches aren't the best.
Nope.
We'll see.
Bill Belichick. That's it.
That's all you got. Everyone's trying to find the second Bill Belichick. It hasn't gone.
Well, Bill
great.
Parcells was a defensive guy. There's a few defensive guys that have done okay.
Not a lot.
Buddy Ryan's not one of them. All right. Let's get into this draft. They only had 5 picks. I thought they knocked it out of the park. With only 5 picks, I thought they knocked it out of the park.
Only 5 picks, and there were teams with 9 picks that I thought did way worse than they did.
Yeah.
Listen, they got 2 great picks in their first round. They take Chris Olave. Obviously, he's. Hold on, I got him right here. How you doing?
Got
right
all
there.
the helmets ready.
Buckeye. I love him. Again,
they have been Columbus South for a while down there.
They love Buckeye players, and we'll get to their roster in a bit and highlight all of them. But I love the Chris Olave move. I think he's going to be really nice as either the number 1 takeover for Michael Thomas, depending on what Michael Thomas's injury is. I don't even know anymore. But on the other side,
but do you see Olave as a slot guy, or do you see him on the outside? Or
on the outside, his body control is very. He's not. He has his route running was better than Garrett Wilson's. Garrett Wilson's a guy that can play slot.
He's not a big guy. I mean,
6 foot, 187. Obviously, he's going to bulk up a little bit in the NFL.
Yeah.
This is the guy who is built very similar to Michael Thomas. Like, he is not going to blow you away with his speed. He's not going to blow you away, sort of with route running. He's not that quick twitch sort of sharp route runner. But his body control in the air is very good. He needs
spot. Michael Thomas to play on this team, though.
Yeah, I think so. I really like. But let's not forget their second first-round pick. They pick up Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa, who's going to shore up that offensive line that still has a guy in Ryan Ramczyk out there that is the best right tackle out there, left tackle, whatever side he plays on. Beyond that, I don't really care. Like, they had great picks. Alontae Taylor.
Didn't surprise me that a defensive coach, they take 3. They take Alontae Taylor, as you mentioned, out of Tennessee at 49. Then they got the Jacksons of DeMarco and Jordan, not related, from Appalachian State and Air Force, respectively. Not going to be impact players this season. Now, Alontae Taylor could be an impact player.
I'm not sure he's a corner. Alontae Taylor's a former wide receiver, converted to corner. Not the fastest, not great in man-to-man coverage, but he's a guy who hits well, which he could back up and play in that safety role in this defense that loves to play safeties both in the box and back coming up towards the box. I think he could move to safety. I don't know if he's a corner, but I just think their first 2 picks. I mean, Scott, when you only have 5 picks and you take 2 guys, I mean, Trevor Penning could have been a top 15 pick and Chris Olave could have been a top 10 pick. You get them at 11 and 19. That's a great draft. And if there's one thing we've always said about the Saints, they draft very well.
I mean, I think as a defensive coach, we talk about Dennis Allen. I think he likes guys that can do a little bit of everything, right? He's kind of like like these Isaiah Simmons kind of guys, right? Mm-hmm. They could be safeties, they could be linebackers, they could be outside rushers, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I think you're seeing more and more of teams kind of go that way of kind of having some more utility, kind of like we could move them around. And I'm not even talking about like position wise. I'm talking about just even like exotic, looks, exotic coverages and things like that. So we'll see how he fits in there. Let's talk about this roster. We got to start off at the quarterback, and they need Jameis Winston to be as healthy as he can be for them to have any chance this year. But a little upgrade at the backup with Andy Dalton.
Red Rocket. Yeah. Listen, they technically have 4 quarterbacks on the roster. They got Jameis, they got Dalton, they got Ian Book out of Notre Dame, who we saw play last year and is bad. And Taysom Hill, who we saw play last year and won games. I don't know how. Listen, this roster is a good offensive roster. There are some caveats here. Number 1 is a quarterback. Jameis Winston is who we thought he was, and we let him off the hook. He is sometimes great, sometimes very bad. Alvin Kamara is a top 3 to 5 running back, depending on your list. He will not be playing for 6 games, probably, based on that arrest.
And then who's going to, I guess you're going to have Mark Ingram tote the rock in those first 6 games?
Ingram, they really liked Dwayne Washington, too. But I think you're probably going to see Mark Ingram.
Washington out of Washington.
6 games. Wide receiver, Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, Chris Olave. It's a really good wide receiving core. I think Landry still continues to be
I think Winston's going to have a big stats this season. Huge stats.
It's interesting. You got
great fantasy kind of player. They might only win 5 games.
Yeah,
we'll get there in a moment. But I think Winston, if healthy, has a big season.
I mean, and it's interesting. Their top receivers from last year are all sort of going to be role players. Marcus Callaway, Traquan Smith. I mean, depending on what Michael Thomas's health looks like, it's going to be fun. Tight end is a weird position, and I don't think very good. Adam Troutman's their number one. Their number two tight end right now is Taysom Hill. Do with that information what you will. You go to the offensive line. It's a really good offensive line. You got Ryan Ramsey at right tackle, who is, I think, the premier right tackle in the league. You got Eric McCoy at center. I think Cesar Ruiz and Andres Pete are really good guards. Left tackle right now is James Hurst, but I think that's going to be Trevor Penning. I think that's where Penning slots in. That's why you take him in the first round.
But Hurst is a veteran, right? So it's like if the youngster needs some more time to develop, at least you got a veteran over there at right tackle.
And by the way, if there's a position that is going to get dinged up and somebody's going to miss a game or two, it is the offensive line. I think Penning can play both at tackle and at guard. And they have a really nice backup in Forrest Lamp. Let's remember, this Forrest Lamp is a really good player that can slot in there. This offensive line, I think, is a premier one. I think
big guard. Talk about 6'4", 3-something, 310, 315. Forrest Lamp's a big dude.
Can we just talk about for a second? They have two fantastic names on the roster. First of all, at wide receiver, Aesop Winston Jr. He's no fable out there. And at right guard, Calvin Throckmorton. Oh my God. I need those two players to be starting right now.
What about the defensive end to Noah Kopasagag, whatever he is?
Gesundheit, yeah. Yeah.
They got Taco Charlton. I mean, those are good names. They got some good names down there. What do you think about the defensive side? Because,
fight the team across the field, show them Ohio's here. This is where all the Buckeyes are, so I love it, Scotty. This is a great defense. I mean, D-line, top 5 to 7 D-line. Cam Jordan, still a premier defensive end. Marcus Davenport, David Onyemata. This is a really good D-line. Linebackers, Pete Warner. That's a former Buckeye. There's one for you, ladies and gentlemen. We already had two on the offensive side, but there's Pete Warner. Demario Davis, they bring back. I think Demario Davis is really, really good. And Zach Bond played really nice last year. This is that's one of those, you talk about the Mel Kiper words, high motor guys. That's Zach Bond.
Big Ten physical, doesn't stop till the whistle, and maybe even after the whistle blows. For Zach Bond.
The secondary is both great and awful somehow, Scott. I don't really know. They still have Marshawn Lattimore, former Buckeye. What's up, guys? He is a premier corner still. This is still the top.
He's the corner.
1-2 lockdown corner in the league. That's how good Lattimore is. Paulson Adebo, Alante Taylor, PJ Williams, I actually think is pretty good. And
Honey Badger is the X factor in the secondary.
That safety room is really interesting. Marcus Maye, Honey Badger coming in was such a great signing for them and is going to lead that defense. CJ Gardner-Johnson, I think, might be the best backup safety out there, and he's somebody that can slot in at nickel. This is a really good guy.
Yeah, he might be pushing for some starting time.
Yeah, by the way, they also have Bradley Roby at corner. Another Buckeye. How you doing? They also brought in Daniel Sorensen, and that guy is awful. I don't really know why you have Daniel Sorensen anywhere near football, but it's
the Chiefs loved him for a long time. Apparently, they love their BYU grads down there as well in New Orleans with Taysom Hill and Daniel Sorensen.
And let's point out
who I thought was in Friday Night Lights.
Yes, true. Let's point out really good special teams as well. Will Lutz is a great kicker. And Blake Killican is a big leg at punter. I mean, their defense and special teams. When the offense is a question mark, the defense has to lead you, and I think this is a defense that can lead them.
We'll keep that in mind as we step into the win-loss game for the 2022 New Orleans Saints.
Thanks, Scott. I'll see you later, man. Good luck with that.
We already got the Buccaneers winning the division. The question is can the Saints put together enough wins to be number 2? Or do they got 3 bottom dwellers in the division? They start the season off against the Atlanta Falcons.
Win. Although I will say right now, just so I don't have to say it every time, Scott, all these games are a toss-up. Every single one. If Jameis Winston is at quarterback, I do not know what this team is.
He could throw for 500 yards. He could have 5 touchdowns.
Good. And he could throw for 132 yards and 6 interceptions. They will win week 1. Marcus
week
Mariota
2, we already talked about it. Last week, Buccaneers, they get throttled.
A reminder with all these, no Alvin Kamara for these 6 games. That is the biggest thing. That's also why a lot of these are toss-ups. there's nobody on Atlanta though. I don't see that team. That team is like a 4-year rebuild. Like that team.
It's
is
on the road though in week 1. Like literally anything can happen.
They're gonna be fan there. Like both of them are gonna be in Atlanta.
They could be 3-3. They could be 0-6. I mean, I don't think that happens with Atlanta and Carolina. Let's talk about Carolina in week 3. They're 1-1. They got to go to Charlotte.
Yeah, but I legit was like, let me just take a peek. Let me head over to the Falcons roster and see who they're starting right now. And their starting wide receivers right now are rookie Drake London, Olamide Zacchaeus, and Brian Edwards, the number 6 receiver on the Raiders.
Sure.
Yeah, they're not losing that first game. Sorry.
I think they beat the Panthers too. I think they go 2-1.
Yes, I do too. Panthers are bad. They are. Sorry, user. What's up, man? They're bad. They're a bad team. At Carolina is kind of sneaky tough. Like that is a
I do think
raucous
that's
place
tough.
to play. Who will be quarterback for the Panthers? PJ Walker? Are they just throwing Sam Howell out there and saying, "Good luck, dude. You have no offensive line," and DJ Moore? Christian McCaffrey. It's week 3. He will already be dead, so he will not be playing. So yeah, they beat Carolina.
Week 4, they host the Vikings.
This is another one of the international games, Scott. Yeah. We get to head overseas. This is London, right?
London it is.
Are we in London for this one?
We are in London for this one.
We're Lord.
Start time's 9:30 a.m. for those that like to sleep in.
Yeah.
But Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Jefferson. Dalvin Cook.
This is at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, so shout out to all the Spurs fans out there. 6:30 a.m. start. I got the Vikings winning this one. I think with no Alvin Kamara. We'll get to our NFC North previews. I think the Vikings are going to be better than people people think they are. Nope. I continue to put Kirk Cousins on my list of guys who I think get
Vikings might win the division.
Legit. Listen,
because I think the Packers are going to struggle.
I think Minnesota wins this game handily. Yeah. That's how good
like 21 points.
This
like
is
17, 21, something like that.
Yeah. I
Do
got
you like
Minnesota, that? Governor, congratulations on winning overseas. Enjoy your tourism. Don't get arrested over there like some guys did. What was it? 2 or 3 years ago, they went to London and half them went to a club and got arrested. Like, just don't do that. Just be good.
Week 5. So they're sitting now at 2-2.
Drew Lock. Sorry. I saw Drew Lock again.
If they go to Seattle, I'm thinking it's a pick'em game, but because they're hosting the Seahawks, I think they win that one by a touchdown.
It's Jameis Winston, but yeah, give me the Saints now.
Then they host the Bengals.
They do not win this game.
I think they get throttled.
Plays 4 games with 4 different Alvin Kamaras. They're not winning this game. No, sorry. Go Bengals, go.
All right, so we kind of told you they were going to be 3-3. They are 3-3, losing to the Buccaneers, Vikings, and Bengals. You get Kamara back, but you got to go to Arizona.
By the way, if you're 3-3...
Short week, by the way. Short week after playing the Bengals. 4 days later, you play the Cardinals.
3-3, by the way, without Alvin Kamara. Aren't you pretty happy if you're a Saints fan to be 500?
Yeah.
Like,
I think they're more like 2-4, but I think the Panthers or Seahawks clip them somewhere in there. But we'll say 3-3. They got to go Thursday night to Arizona. Short week.
Yeah, I got Arizona in this one. Arizona thrives on Thursday night somehow. They play a lot of Thursday night football games.
Yep.
I think even though Cliff Kingsbury sucks, I think Arizona's got enough talent, especially if D-Hop is there. Like, a guy who got suspended for part of last season. Like, you got D-Hop, you got Kyler Murray.
At one point, we thought the Cardinals might be the best team in the league.
Yeah.
That turned out not to be true.
Not true, actually. Found out Maury came out with the results, and those the results that's a lie.
Yeah. They get 10 days off, and they're going to need it because the Raiders come to town.
Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas.
It's going to be a good matchup between a really good offense and I think a formidable defense, but I still think the Raiders, I think it's a 3, 7, 10-point win.
I think it's more than that because, Scott, I just looked at the Raiders' schedule. You want to know what they have the 2 weeks before that? Their bye week. And then they play the Houston Texans, which is a bye week. So they're going to be well rested coming into that one. Give me the Raiders. I'm excited to watch this new look Raiders offense with Devontae Adams. I really am. Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, like that is, and Hunter Renfrow, who got a big contract. Scott, is it AFC West time? I just want to talk about it.
We got to get closer to the season.
Okay, fine.
You don't talk about the AFC West in June, even though we talk about the AFC West every episode we do.
Yeah.
At the July 4th barbecue, yeah, most people have been
Cool.
Yeah, fireworks talking about the AFC West. That's what they were doing yesterday. Ravens.
Mm-hmm. Monday night.
They host the Ravens on Monday night. They're 3-5. I think they struggle moving the football. I think this is an ugly Monday night game. Just ugly.
I got the Saints winning this one, and I think don't fact check me, guys.
We picked the Saints.
I'm pretty sure I picked the Saints.
Yep.
I think the Saints win this one for two reasons. One, Monday Night Football in the Superdome. I mean, that is a home game. That is, it's just a tough place to play on Monday night. New Orleans turns out for these big primetime games. I think that helps New Orleans. I also think having Alvin Kamara does not match up well against this Ravens defense. He is a tough guy. He doesn't match up well against any defense, let's be honest. But I just don't know if Baltimore can move the ball enough against a team with athletic players like Cam Jordan. I mean, talk about two of the best contained guys. Davenport and Cam Jordan can contain Lamar Jackson better than anybody. You add in, Marshawn Lattimore. And by the way, you add in Honey Badger, who is probably going to be spied on Lamar Jackson for a good amount of this game. I think New Orleans win this game. I think it's a 7-point game. I think it is ugly, but 20 to
13-6,
yeah,
20-13, 17-10.
Lamar Jackson will have 4 turnovers.
I ain't watching it. Let me just put it that way. I'm not watching that.
November 7th. No, I think I'm cutting my hair that day.
Yeah. I'm not watching that game. I'll catch the highlights. To Pittsburgh, which is interesting. Another short 6. They got a 4-day off, and then they got a 6-day off. They got their schedule. I mean, there's not many heavy hitters in there.
But man, we looked at the Bucs schedule last week, and we went, "Wow, the NFL really did them well." And then we look at the Saints one, and we're like, "Wow, is this the
Saints got a good home schedule though?" Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's many. I mean, their toughest road game, maybe the Browns, maybe the Cardinals.
They got the
Buccaneers on the road, of course, and in the division. But
the Saints got the unfortunate the week 14 bye week is brutal. I mean, the late bye week is going to hurt them.
They needed an early one. They needed the Kamara. They needed an early one.
Here's the thing: I got Pittsburgh in this game. It is on the road on a short week. Pittsburgh coming off a bye week, by the way, to play them. They're going to have 2 weeks to prepare.
I don't understand the schedule sometimes and the way it works out.
It's a weird thing. Sorry. I think it is a coin flip game because I just don't like the Pittsburgh quarterback room. But I think a home game against New Orleans coming off a bye week, Mike Tomlin will have that.
Najee Harris could have. I mean, Najee Harris is going to be the X factor in that game. He's going to be
Najee Harris versus Alvin
for
Kamara,
every Pittsburgh game.
It's going to be fun to watch. Yeah. I think that one is going to be an ugly game that I might want to watch because I want to see those two running backs.
It feels like an old school 1980s kind of game.
Yeah,
maybe 70s. All right, so right now through 10 games, they are sitting at 4-6.
Yeah. And this is where some losses come.
Yeah.
This is where it gets
4-7 because week 11, November 20th, they face the Los Angeles Rams, the defending Super Bowl champions.
Yeah, day after my baby is due, and I will not be watching this game because the Rams are going to win this game 38-3. Sorry. So sorry.
There's no reason to watch this game on a Sunday anyway. There's no reason to watch the Saints on Sunday, period. There's too many choices. Thursday, Monday, maybe. No, I'm not watching the Saints on Sunday.
Aaron Donald might actually eat Jameis Winston. Like, just rip off his arm and eat it like a turkey leg.
That line gets tested, more than tested. And then it gets interesting because then you go to San Francisco after the Rams decimate you. Yeah. So all of a sudden, this game against the 49ers is a big pick'em.
Big pick'em. Big toss-up game. A lot of question marks in this one. I lean towards San Francisco in this one. As a home game team going from east to west, I always lean towards the team that is the home team. Again, a lot of question marks on San Francisco, but that defense is still for real. Nicholas Bosa is going to be creating some havoc back there. They've got a really, really nice secondary. I lean San Francisco in this one, but as 50-50, I think, as it gets, which this is the game, Scott.
I think they lose 4 games in a row. I think they lose to the Steelers, Rams, 49ers, Buccaneers.
Yeah, they're going to lose to the Bucs. Let's just get that over. They're losing to the Bucs in Tampa. We talked about it last week. They're not going to Tampa and beating them.
So they hit the bye week
Week 14 bye week. Sorry, guys.
Week 14 bye week. Played 13 games. I think they're 5-8.
Yeah, they do get a nice break after the bye week because they come home to play Atlanta, who again their top receiver right now is Olamide Zacchaeus or Drake London. I don't know. They're winning Week 15. I like them at home. I don't think they split with the Falcons or the Panthers. I think the Saints are maybe the most clear-cut number 2 team in the division we will see. They are the number.
That just tells you how bad the Falcons and Panthers are, because
it tells you how good the Bucs are. Like, they're not winning the division, but they're also not going to fall below.
That's why we had the Bucs winning, 13 to 15 games, and a lot of it's based on this division being pretty poor from number 2 on down. So they beat the Falcons after the bye week. Congrats.
Thumbs up. They're
6-8.
They're 6 wins after the Atlanta win.
I think they lose the Browns. I think they lose to the Eagles, and then beat the Panthers at the end of the season. I think this is a 7-10 team.
Yeah, they could go 2-1 to finish this. Again, depending on what the quarterback situation is in Cleveland, could be Jacoby Brissett. I think they've got enough running firepower, though. Their Nick Chubb continues to be a beast. I think the Browns can win that game.
Great defense.
The Falcons are an interesting game. I think it's a toss-up. Talk about 2 quarterbacks, that is. Which quarterback shows up? We getting good Jalen Hurts? We getting bad Jalen Hurts?
You're talking about the Eagles.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Philly is a wild team. I think Philly will actually be better than I think some people think they are, but they are toss-uppy because Jalen Hurts sometimes just goes out and throws for 112 yards. But I think they lose to Cleveland. They lose to Philly. They beat Carolina at home to finish out the season. And that's the Saints' schedule. I think this team could be a lot better if Alvin Kamara plays all 17 games. But losing those 6 games puts them at 3.
And we had them at 3-3 in the first 6, and it's more likely 2-4, 1-5.
I mean, again, who knows what's happening in Seattle? If Seattle gets a real quarterback, that's a loss.
Yeah,
they still have your luck.
Yeah, I don't disagree. So let's talk about what's the basement for this team, because we got them at 7 wins.
Basement, I think you're probably looking not much below 7. I don't think this is a low basement team. I think probably 6. There just aren't that many toss-up games for me on here. The Saints are really unknown. I mean, let's be honest, Scott. Their basement could be 0. If Jameis Winston goes out there and does bad Jameis Winston things, it's the bad team. That's why they're weird to plan for. But assuming Jameis Winston plays somewhere near the mean of what Jameis Winston is, I don't think it's much below 7. I think you're probably looking 6 wins is their floor. I think they get the benefit of having 2 games against the Falcons and 2 games against the Panthers that they're not going to lose. And I think because that the other toss-ups, the other games that they lose, I just don't see many more out there.
What about the ceiling? They won 9 games last year.
Yeah, I think their ceiling is probably 10. I do. I think with Jameis Winston out there, you got a lot of games here that you could win. Cleveland, Philly, Pittsburgh, all on the road sucks, but they could win any one of those games because there's still
there's some physical games in. They could beat the 49ers on the road. That could happen.
I mean, let's be clear. The only games I go...
They could beat the Vikings in London.
Let's be clear. There's a 17-game schedule. There are only 3 games on here that I go, they are definitely not winning. The 2 Tampa Bay games and LA are the only games I go, there's no shot they are losing this game. Probably Cincinnati as well. Put them on there. But
I don't like their schedule. And I'm not even talking about the teams. I don't like the trip to London. I don't like...
Week 14 bye week.
Week 14 bye week. I don't like you play a game 4 days after you play the Bengals. I don't like that you have several short weeks in there where you got 4 to 6 days. Like you play the Ravens and Steelers within 6 days.
The Steelers get to come off of a bye, whereas you're coming off a 6-game week.
Yeah, I don't like. Yeah. I don't like the schedule. I mean, but I'm with you. I think they beat the Panthers twice. I think they beat the Falcons twice. So that's 4 wins. And maybe they get 2 or 3, 4 other wins in there. And that just tells you how bad this division is.
If this team is anywhere around 500, it's a good year, I think.
Well, we might see you next week with the Panthers and the Falcons. I'm not guaranteeing what team we're coming back with because I'm not excited to talk about either of those teams. That might be one of those double short episodes.
Joint episode?
It might be a joint episode.
These are all bad teams, so I cannot wait to talk about those 2.
We'll surprise you with what team we'll see next week. Hope everybody had a great 4th of July weekend. As we're getting into the dog days of summer, We'll continue to break down all 32 teams. Hey, we're moving through. We're not even a fourth through, but it's also July. We got a little bit of moves here. Make sure you listen to our podcast out on Apple and Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast. It's easy to find. We're also on LinkedIn. What's up, LinkedIn? Twitch, Twitter, Facebook. Someday we'll fire up the Instagram live. When we get to the season, I think we're going to see some Instagram lives and some Twitter spaces, that kind of stuff. Make sure you follow Nick Mazesco out on social media. I'm at Scott Cole Show, and we'll see you guys next week with a surprise team. Now, it could be the Panthers. Could be the Falcons.
Either the Panthers
but it could
or
be
the
a
Falcons
surprise
are going to be
team.
surprise teams. Let's point that out.
Yeah.
We're not saying they're going to surprise anybody. They will be exactly what they are, who we thought they were, and then we let them off the hook.
I mean, it's going to be short shows because I'm telling you, there's a lot of L's for those two teams. Maybe we'll talk about where their future is going to be because these are two teams that got to build toward the future if they're going to get back to any sort of winning ways in either of those Southern teams. Appreciate everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back next week with some more breakdowns of the 2022 NFL season. We'll see you.